Welcome to the first ever CG Figures weekly update. First up, I'll be looking at a few things that I've been doing in Blender with scripting recently. Something I've found more and more as I go through a number of scientific figures is that having a way of quickly applying particle systems or expediting the workflow just generally makes things a little bit more pleasant for me, and that's something that I'd like to share with the community. In this case specifically, I'll be running through some of the work that I've done on automatically setting up graphene and more generally working with particle systems. A lot of this work being inspired by some of the shortcuts and time saving techniques that I've found from recently starting to work with HardOps and Boxcutter. Moving on from there, of course, I will be addressing another specific scientific figure this week. This time around, it's going to be mitochondria, though many of the approaches that I'll be using could be adapted to other things such as Golgi apparati, perhaps endoplasmic reticulum, maybe just more generally organelles, as ultimately I would like to make tutorials for every aspect of a cell so that they can all be combined into one of those types of figures, as they do appear quite commonly. In addition, this week I'll be doing a much longer examination of many of the techniques that I use for animation. Though this channel was originally created with the intention of doing primarily static figures, the type that you would find in a publication, such as a journal article, or perhaps in a news article, animation has increasingly become something that I lean on, and I find it really does make everything a little bit more engaging. I've learned my animation techniques from a number of fantastic resources, and I'll be touching on them in the relevant video. However, I'll go through in a very, very long form, comprehensive examination of some of my previous work to break down some of the techniques that I find myself using on a recurring basis in the hopes that they will be useful to you. One final thing that I want to sneak in here is that I've now generated enough content for this channel that I'm more comfortable actively promoting it. And so I'll be doing that a little bit more on Twitter and Instagram. If you're interested, you can follow me on those platforms at CG Figures. So stay tuned for everything that's coming this week. And as always, thanks for coming out. Again, if you find my content compelling, please consider subscribing, sharing with your friends and colleagues, and until next time, you have yourselves a great old day.